button.
Okay.
Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, for Nerds by Nerds, hanging out with Nerdarchist Ted, and we also have the Mistress of Monsters, the original monster maker herself, Crystal Sully, with us as well today.
Hello, everybody.
And we actually at first encountered you randomly through Brian Feaster and Open Legend, and your monster tried to kill us.
Which monster tried to kill you? I must know.
I believe that was the Saberwing.
It was. Oh man, that's a good one. Good for killing people.
Although I think Ted baned it to death or something with the monk character.
That makes me sad. I always root for the monsters, so.
Well, somebody has to, right? Isn't that how it works?
Yeah, they're just misunderstood. The Saberwing just wants hugs. I mean, that's all.
I actually think it wanted to. I think it wanted to eat us, or use us to feed its young.
It works.
It did get some vindication later on, though, through other villains.
Oh, good.
So that was a fun game. So I don't know very much about you. I know that you're gracious enough to come on with us in the middle of a move, like the most, across state lines. One of the most stressful things someone could do.
No problem.
I know you're a video gamer.
I am.
And an amazing artist.
You're too kind.
And that pretty much sums up everything I know now. You've also worked on some pretty big projects as well. You've done work for Paizo and for Open Legend, and there's a whole list that I had put in the description as well. And
yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
That reminds me, I meant to put links to your stuff in there as well. I got up and set up the hangout early this morning, and before I got my first cup of coffee in.
All right, so while Dave is fixing the description links, let me get into some of the Monster Mayhem questions. So when you're designing monsters for a book, like Open Legends or Paizo, do they come to you with concepts, or do you come to them with an idea and they work it? Have you done both sides? How does that usually work?
I kind of have a mix of both, and it depends on the client. Like Pathfinder, their IP, their whole game is really well established. So when they come to me, they have things really specifically in mind, but they also let me kind of have some wiggle room with it. But they're definitely really strict. They've got a description, and I have to hit that accurately. However, the really fun part is when I get clients like Brian for Open Legend RPG, where he says, "Hey, I have something that just has to have wings that people can ride. Go nuts." That's when I get to play.
Is that your favorite? Is that your favorite style when you've got more free form to see where the inspiration takes you?
I'd say so, definitely, because then I just get to have fun, and I get to throw all these different parts of animals in there, and he'll kind of tell me generally whether it's supposed to be friendly or if it kills people, like our dear friend the Saberwing. So it's always really fun just getting to really play and just have no rules attached to that.
Awesome.
All right, guys. So if you guys are following along at home, you can find Crystal's website in the description, and then I'll find some other social media and stuff to link to as well. Because as a freelance artist, I'm sure you're always looking for gigs.
That definitely, I've only been doing this for about 5 years since I graduated college. And for the last 4, it's been, kind of a scramble. It's usually feast or famine, but the last year has been really nice. I've actually had companies contacting me. So I've been kind of thrilled to just pick and choose, okay, I'd love to work with this person, and this person. This is great.
Well, I'm not surprised after, having looked at some of your work that they're coming out of the woodwork now, because the stuff is just really good.
Oh, thanks. It's been really nice, because I think freelance artists, that's generally the rule. We have to be sending out our portfolio to everyone all the time. So when the companies start contacting you, it's like, wow, this is nice. I like this.
So I see you've got a couple dragons in the background. Do you have a favored genre or monster type that you prefer to work with?
I think dragons would definitely take the cake for me. As you can see, those are my favorite. Every time I get hired to do dragon, I just get really giddy and excited.
So, are you I know Dave says you're into video games. Are you into tabletop at all as well? Like,
So you know what's funny? I have only played Open Legend. That's the only tabletop game I played. Brian was gracious enough to invite me into a personal session with about 5 people, and I recently had to drop out because of the move and all that stuff. But that was so cool, learning how everything works, and just sort of how the monsters that I create actually function in the game. So I'm very new, very
Okay.
new to tabletop gaming.
Everyone's new at some point.
Yeah, right.
So I was thinking that I could do a screen share and show the people some of the stuff you've got under your belt, some of the stuff you've drawn.
Of course, that would be totally fine.
Awesome.
Guy's gonna make me blush over here. My gosh.
So here, hide that. So again, we see some credits from Open Legend.
There's the
Saber
saber wing.
Yes.
Oh, that
What
one
about
was
this
so
guy?
much fun.
So did you make this guy up? What did Brian tell you? And this is for this one to come out.
So this one was actually by a writer friend of mine, Ryan Shapals. If I'm butchering your name, I apologize, Ryan. But the description for this, at first, I was like, "Whoa, guys, it's a little crazy." They told me it was going to be giant modified lobster bird monster, and I was like, "A lobster bird? That's a new one for me." And then we decided to kind of take more of a dinosaur approach with it, and it is probably the most fun one I've worked on to date.
I was gonna say I'm not feeling the lobster. Dinosaur, absolutely.
Yeah,
That thing is scary looking.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
kind
we
of like
ended up-
a T-Rex and meets a Velociraptor on
Yeah.
steroids.
Yeah, exactly. We wanted to make the lobster plating more of like, armor and spikes and stuff instead of like, a round little cute lobster shell.
Nice. Also, you know what? I kind of glossed through the beginning here. That's a wicked looking dragon, but this guy, I guess this is one of the early pieces that I saw from you, and I think
Oh.
I seen it when it was a whips though, and you were working on it.
Yeah,
And this guy is really cool looking.
thanks.
How-
That
how-
was one of the few pieces I've gotten to do for myself recently. So it was kind of fun taking a break from a lot of the client stuff and just making something, God forbid, that is adorable.
It's bright and colorful, to the gamer in me. That's it speaks on a couple different levels. D&D is known for let's mashing two creatures together and coming out with something, and that's pretty much a gecko butterfly. And to me, it's like, all right, well, that could just very well be some bizarre wizard's familiar, and I see that perching on the wizard's shoulder without a problem. So that's it spoke to me on that regards.
Oh, that's awesome to hear. That is totally what I was going for, and it was fun to play with something that didn't terrify people. Like I do conventions around the country, and the kids love that one. And I'm so not used to it when people are coming up and they're like, "Oh, he's so cute." I'm just like, "What?" People are calling my stuff cute. This is nice. I'll take it.
Instead, you're used to things like this that looks like it's going to
Yes.
destroy a village.
Yes, exactly.
So what's the story behind this guy?
Oh man, this is a fun one. So as you guys definitely know, Matt Mercer was involved with Open Legend RPG,
Yes.
and Matt Mercer had his own sort of deity character, which was this dragon here. So Brian emailed me and asked if I would, be the one to have the honor to bring that one to life. So that was
Nice.
really fun.
See that, guys? Matt Mercer has a stamp on this one as well, and you did, obviously an awesome job bringing it alive. The saber wing that nearly killed us.
Thanks.
Back to this guy. So here we got a great old one from Pathfinder. I guess their take on Cthulhian monsters.
Oh yeah.
So is this one where they're like, "Hey, this is what we need," and you're like, "Okay, art drone, here we go."
Yeah. I mean, this one was a little more open-ended because I'm familiar with a lot of the Cthulhu mythos, but they were really specific about this one being made up of smoke and then kind of ending in a tar texture. So this was actually quite a challenge for me as far as like getting the textures right and, making sure that both of those materials read well. And I also got to illustrate the bestiary opener that has this creature in action that's sort of like attacking. I think it was an alchemist and a warrior.
Cool.
That was a lot of fun. Normally, it's like I do the concept for a painting and then they have another illustrator bring it to life. But I got to do both. So I was really excited to do this one.
Got some more Pathfinder.
Yeah, he's so creepy. He still creeps me out more than any of my monsters.
We have some some waxy skin going on, the creepy eye. It's kind of like
I didn't know how to take that one when I was looking at the artwork page that Dave shared with me.
Same page I'm at right now. That's somebody you can run. You can run into him in town.
I saw this one here. Is it the Stormlord? Is that what that one's called?
Yeah.
I love how you've got the lightning around it, yet you can still see the creature so perfectly and visibly behind it. The lightning only adds to, not taking away from the visual aspect of it.
Thanks. This was definitely one of the most, I say this about every piece I've done for Brian, and he knows this. We joke about it all the time, like this one's our favorite now, but we said that about all of them. Like this was one of my favorites to paint because I was really inspired by the Pacific Northwest where I live, where we just get constant rain. And I was sort of thinking like, how cool would it be if I like took some of that inspiration and let it kind of bleed into this character, because this was really open-ended from Brian as well. So I had a lot of creative control with this one.
That's just awesome. I think this is also one of the really early pieces I've seen from you as well. I mean, I think the Razor Wing or the Saber Wing was like the first one we saw, because I believe Brian showed it to us. And that was like the attention getter that I started like paying attention.
Yeah, Brian had some of the artwork, maybe even preliminary stuff at the day that we play tested Open Legend, so that when he was like, "Oh, this is what's attacking," he would hold up to the artwork and say, "This is what it is." So I thought that was really cool, and that's when I fell in love with the Saber Wing. So
that makes me so happy.
But then we realized you have all this other great stuff too, like this hyena that looks amazing.
Oh man, this one was so much fun because we actually let the public vote. I don't know if you guys remember, but we did a special Halloween event, and I was going to basically paint this live on Twitch on Halloween night. So we posed a poll to, I think it was on Facebook, like the Open Legend Facebook community, and we said like which monster would you guys want to see brought to life, like a retake on a classic, and we got some really interesting suggestions. But I went in there and I put Hyena as the suggestion. I'm like, please vote for it, and everyone like hands down voted for this one. So I was so happy. It was like, thanks guys, this is so cool.
Well, I feel like they were well rewarded for their choice on this one for sure.
Yeah,
Thanks.
And it utterly speaks to the Halloween. It speaks to the graphic nature of what lycanthropes are known for. You've got the full moon in the background. You've got the gore coming out of the mouth. You've got a terrifying humanoid there ready to tear into somebody else.
Well, thanks. This is definitely one of my top 3 out of all of them that I've done for Open Legend, I would say. And it was kind of cool. I just did Emerald City Comic Con earlier this month, and I had this guy come up, and he was so excited about this painting. He was almost in tears. He's like, I grew up in Africa, and we actually had a pack of hyenas that lived within our village, and we fed them all the time. He's like, this piece means so much to me, and I need to buy this painting. I was like, that is cool.
That is cool. This savage hyena reminds me of home.
I know, right? I'm like, you are metal, sir. You go ahead and you get that print.
That is freaking amazing.
That was cool.
Now, so I didn't actually really mean to bring you on here and just show all your pictures, but they're so awesome to look at, and I like hearing the inspiration and where it came from.
Yeah. So
Oh, I don't mind.
this one here, I was, again, you've got another one that's bright colors, very, very eye catching. But what's the story behind that one?
So this one originally started out as a redesign of a Pokemon called Victory Bell. And this Pokemon does not get a lot of love. It's a plant. I mean, there's not a lot of cool stuff online. Lots of people see like Pikachu redone to look all cool, and I am obsessed with carnivorous plants. I have a collection of them here. And I was like, I want to like have an excuse just to bring something to life that kind of combines the the carnivorous plant aspect with something I already like Pokemon, from my childhood. So this was a lot of fun.
Now, was that one for a piece, or is that something you just did for yourself?
This was just for fun. I had just started Twitch streaming at the time, and it was a Friday, and I was like, I have nothing to work on today. What should I do? And I just started doodling. I was like, okay, yep, it's a plant monster. We're gonna go with that.
You know what it reminds me of when I look at it? It makes me think of tiger lilies, to be honest with you. I mean, the colors aren't quite the same, but like your artwork is so good. Like I can when I look at the the flowering around the mall, that totally makes me think of that. The tiger lily, and even the mall itself, the way it's constructed is looks like the inside of it. It's one of those flowers that if I'm getting like not roses for my wife, I like to get some of those thrown in there.
Awesome. A+. That's a good flower.
Well, the tendrils, they look like they've got the Venus flytrap openings on them, and you can see a little bit of inspiration from them on the actual mall itself. So clearly, you've got the basis of the carnivorous plants, but then you cross that with kind of more elemental. Like I see the bright reds and yellows. To me, that thinks like, all right, this is a fire related creature.
Ooh, that could be cool. A fire controlling plant. That would be awesome.
or maybe like I could see this thing secreting some kind of oil that burns, not burns in the sense of catches fire, but it burns to the touch, creates rashes, but much more severe.
Yeah, I could totally get behind that idea, Dave.
It's crazy with that one. I have a pitcher plant that is actually I got the exact color inspiration from that. And when the sun hits that pitcher plant, it is just neon red and orange, but the tips of the leaves are green. And I just thought that was the coolest thing ever to see that in nature. So this is all even the crazy colors are all based off of my real plants. That's how crazy nature can be.
Nice. So here we got, we're back to dragons with the dragon head.
Of course.
We did not escape them very long. So what's the deal with this guy? And this looks a lot different than everything else. Looks more sculpted and three-dimensional. Yeah.
So friends have been telling me for a few years now, you need to try out ZBrush, which is a digital 3D virtual modeling program. And I used to sculpt traditionally, but I've been so busy I haven't had time. So we went ahead and I busted out the program, and I had a friend kind of teach me the basic ropes of it, and kind of got to play around in it for about a day and ended up with a dragon that I thought was pretty sweet.
So one of our members, he actually graduated from University of Arts, my brother Ryan.
Nice.
And are you familiar with Red Nose Studios?
It sounds familiar, yeah.
I can't think of the guy's name, but he works three-dimensionally.
Ooh.
And basically creates puppets and then photographs them. Well, that's what my brother was doing for the longest time. But now he's doing Nerdarchy, so there's no time for that.
Oh man, no, 3D is so hard. That's why there's only one on there. Learning this whole new program and seeing 2D objects in three-dimensional space is it's so crazy, but it's really rewarding.
Yeah, so he would actually build dolls.
Oh, that's cool. In person,
yeah.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Build them and then almost create dioramas and photograph them and stuff like that.
Oh man, I want to do that. That's awesome.
So here we got another Pathfinder, and this guy is actually really cool looking.
Oh, thanks. This one was probably the most crazy description I've ever gotten in my life. Even more crazy
More than
the
the lobster.
Skullback. Yeah. Oh yeah, this is the Bayaki, which is from Cthulhu mythos. But the description they sent me was, okay, so it's kind of like a vulture, but it's an insect. It has dragon plates. It has a human torso. It has vulture feet. It has bat wings, insect arms, bird claws, and you need to make this all into one creature. I was like, whoa. I have no idea how I'm gonna get going with this. So I kind of Frankenstein this. I started drawing body parts and then started kind of putting them all together and moving them around in Photoshop.
Do you ever feel like they're trolling you? They're like, they're like, they give you a description and like that, and then they're like, "Good luck."
Oh man, it kind of felt like it. I was like, is this for real? Like I asked my art director, like, is this is really a creature, right? But no, I was pleasantly surprised with how quickly this one actually came together with me moving around body parts and getting that figured out.
Saying everything that you say, looking at the picture, I think you nailed it.
Thank you.
I don't know exactly what they were picturing in their mind's eye when they came up with it, but all of the things that you described are clearly there in the picture. It's got
Awesome.
it's got the vulture head, it's got the bird claws, it's got the insectile, concept behind it. You got the antenna, you got the plates, you got the spikes, it's got the dragon wings.
Oh, awesome. Well, I'm glad. That means I did my job well.
This guy is just yucky.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Definitely the most scary thing I've worked on monster-wise.
Not the kind of thing you want to see walking down a dark alley on a dark night.
Oh,
So-
no.
What is Shattered?
So Shattered is a horror / steampunk RPG I worked on for about a year up until, I want to say like mid 2015. They had a really successful Kickstarter and hired me to do a whole bunch of their monsters, kind of like Open Legend. And oh man, that was fun because everything in this world was mutated like crazy and everything wanted to kill everything else. So it was just tentacles and spikes and lots of weird growths and teeth where there shouldn't be teeth and stuff like that. So that was like a playground for me.
Nice.
You see the little people in its stomach. Oh, that was the most horrifying detail. They're like, if you could just put some screaming faces and like show the people that are trapped slowly digesting.
I did not even see that until you said it.
Oh, isn't that gross?
But that is amazing. It's definitely there. They're screaming. It's so subtle. Like the rest of the monster just takes you in, and and then I looked a little deeper once you said it, and it's like totally right there. And I can't believe I missed it.
No, that's good though. They wanted it to be like a really subtle detail that people would only notice if they were kind of looking for it, because the description for this one was that these things can be heard for miles. That's how you know one of them's coming, because of the screaming coming from inside of them because they're slowly digesting people. I kind of pictured it like a moving Sarlacc pit. So I thought that would be kind of fun.
Oh my god. You should do a children's book.
Oh, totally.
Now, you said a children's book on this one, Dave?
Just in general. some of the more horrifying things that Crystal comes up with.
Oh man.
So we got another Pathfinder Hulk stalker here. So does this guy have a story? I feel like the ones that are like where you get free reign are probably going to have the better stories.
Definitely. I mean, for most of these, they just send me like a description. Sometimes they'll like have a backstory. Usually, if it's like a full illustration, but nope. This one, there's already some kind of stalker creature. I'm trying to remember what it was called within Pathfinder, and they're like, "Well, this is its bigger, badder cousin, and it throws rocks at people." So that was a lot of fun.
Nice. This guy, wow.
Oh man.
What's going on here? Is that a ram's horn or a conch shell on his shoulder?
It's actually a fossilized shell. I thought it would be kind of cool to show the age of this creature, that he actually has fossils embedded within his armor.
Ah, nice.
Wouldn't that mean he have to like not move for a long time?
Yep. Yeah, you got it. That is exactly the story. I have this book series I've been working on forever, and I'm working on a bestiary that's sort of like the introduction to creatures that live amongst our world that like we have no idea about. And this is one of my characters from that, this long lost creature that has sort of been slumbering in the Mariana Trench. And I thought it would be kind of cool to think about, like, I mean, there's been a lot of exploration down there recently. What if they woke something up? You know, it's so scary.
It could happen. I mean, I think they say we've only explored about 5% of the world's ocean.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of room. So is that project, is that the Kickstarter you've been threatening on Facebook?
I've been threatening. Yes. Yes, it is. This, it kind of leads into more of like a illustrated novel series, but I figured a good intro to that would be just like my creature art book, my bestiary that just sort of showcases like just the creatures for the most part. And I get to use a lot of the stuff I've done for Open Legend for this, and Pathfinder gave me permission as well, so I'm very excited.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Let's see. Now we're getting to sketches. All right.
Love
Now
sketches.
I'm gonna stop sharing now, but that stuff is great, Crystal.
Thanks so much.
Thank you for sharing it with us. Now I got to figure out how to get out of here.
Oh, if you just click the image. Yeah, I know the window thing is so weird.
So yeah, all that stuff is amazing.
Thanks.
So
someday Nerdarchy will aspire to be able to afford you.
I will be around somewhere, moving around all over the place and doing conventions, but I will be around.
The nomad.
Yes.
So when did you first fall in love with monsters?
Oh man. You know, I try to pinpoint it, and I would say it either began with Star Wars. Well, okay, no, it's both, really. Original Star Wars films and Alien films, hands down, is where I was watching these movies, and I was thinking, like, someone had to make that, you know? I mean, you see the dewbacks, you see the creatures in the Star Wars universe, and I'm like, someone designed that. And then, you know, upon my child research, realized that, like, a creature designer is a job. Like, you can do that and get paid for it.
Nice. And now you are.
I know, it's so crazy. It blows my mind. When I was little, I got this book that's called The Wildlife of Star Wars by my favorite creature artist, Terrell Whitlatch. And in it is just basically all the sketches about all the Star Wars creatures that she did. And I was like, yep, this is a job. This is something that someone got paid to do, and it's drawing monsters. Same with, like, you know, the Alien films, H.R. Geiger. Like, man, that is just so cool. You got to design a lot of the stuff in those films.
So I just want to let you know that they're going crazy in the chat. They love your art.
Oh,
Absolutely.
gosh.
I think you might acquire some new fans.
Oh, thanks, everyone. That's always so crazy because, like, I kind of call myself a studio troll artist. Like, I'm kind of in my little cave just painting all the time. And so hearing people react to my work is really foreign to me, and it's really nice. So thanks so much, you guys.
So you keep saying that phrase painting. Do you do is it oil paints, acrylic paints? What is it that what is your chosen medium?
My chosen medium is actually digital because when it comes to client work, a lot of times they'll have revisions. Like, I'll send something off and they'll say, okay, you know, the green one is really cool, but I think we should make this monster red. And if I was oil painting or acrylic painting, I would just be like, no.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's, yeah, that'd be insanity. And I do love painting in acrylic, gouache. I do a lot of ink sketching and, you know, pencil drawing. But for client stuff, digital is so nice. I can just, like, well, let's just turn on a color layer and let's make it red in about 10 minutes.
So we do it. I'm going to start going to the chat for some questions. And also,
Oh, sure.
you guys, if you guys want to rip out the roll call and let us know where you're from, you do that. And if you're joining us late after we showed all the awesome art, you need to go back and watch that part, or click the link in the description and go to Crystal's website and check out the stuff she's done, because it's amazing.
Yeah.
But staff writer Scott Garibay, Crystal, my daughter is going into a freshman year of college and is an aspiring artist. I buy supplies and encourage her on done pieces. What would you suggest as other ways to support her art goals?
Well, I would say you are already just being super awesome by being supportive in the first place. I can't tell you guys how many art friends I have in this industry who just are at odds with their parents. And their parents are still like, even though they're working for Dungeons and Dragons, their parents are like, when are you going to get a real job? So I think that is awesome that you're already supporting this art, career path that she wants to go on, because that's honestly how I got started. Is my parents, when my little 10-year-old self is like, Mom, look, I made a dragon, I want to work on Star Wars and stuff like that someday, and they were like, hey, cool, you do that, like we're going to help you do that. So I think you're already on the right path for sure. So other things you could do, I'm trying to think. I mean, she's already going to school for it. You've got her the supplies. Just keep being an awesome, supportive parent. That's all I can recommend. So
I'll add an addendum to that. Become independently wealthy, and you can support her as an art patron, and then just make art all the time.
And I do also check my email all the time. I get a lot of emails from students asking questions about, like portfolio reviews and sort of what direction they can go in. So she's always welcome to send me an email if you'd like. My email should be up on my website, and it's on my phone. So I do get every email people send, and I check my spam folder. So yeah.
That's awesome. That is a great offer. So Vex asks, does she paint miniatures? I'm going to guess you don't have time to paint miniatures, and you're new to role playing.
I have never painted miniatures. I have a couple friends that do, and while I do traditional sculpting and I paint those, I don't know if that counts. I've never actually painted official miniatures before.
So let's see. We have the roll call going. It's just a thing we do with these live chats, and we got Jersey in the house with our intern Kyle. I don't know. Somehow we have an intern. It just worked that way. We got Washington State, Jacksonville, Florida, Fort Wayne, Indiana, Szechuan, Canada. And yeah, I get to mispronounce all these words as well.
Saskatchewan, Dave.
Thank you. And I'm not sure where CFL is. We got Pittsburgh, South Carolina. Come on, where's Sweden and Denmark at? Where's Germany? That's what I always love when we see these people like they're on the other side of the world, and I'm like, it's got to be like the middle of the night or something, 3 a.m. Like, what are you guys doing? Go to bed.
Oh yeah. Any Seattle people represent?
Florida, Moscow, nice.
Awesome. Oh, hey, I found the chat. Here we go.
You found it. Woo!
Yay! I can see.
We got Las Vegas, Utah. Oh, Havana, Cuba in the house. Nice.
It's a new one. We don't see that one very often.
No, more Canada. We're huge in Canada. See, I knew there was Sweden in there somewhere. They're always hanging out. There's like 2 guys from Sweden that watches us. Massachusetts, Netherlands, Bulgaria.
Oh, wow.
Is that where we sent stuff, Ted?
Yeah, we did send something to Bulgaria recently.
Atlanta. Nice, guys. You guys are all awesome for tuning in.
Yeah, seriously.
Hey, Crystal's even weighing in.
Yeah, I found the chat.
We got Nottingham, England in the house. Oh, Jose Suarez is on vacation. That's why he's in Cuba. Nice. Why are you on the chat with us? Why aren't you vacationing?
Dude, he's hanging out with Nerdarchy. That's vacation, isn't it?
We appreciate you, buddy. Actually, I think that's the guy. I think I gamed with him in Tampa. I think that's the guy. Washington, we got some more PA in the house. So nice. Very cool, guys. Always appreciate you coming and hanging out with us, and us being able to share our guests with you guys, which is really cool. So, do you have any? Do you have any big ambitions for your art? Like, what is like the pie in the sky?
What's the dream job, dream goal? What do you want to see happen?
Oh, geez. Okay, where to begin? So I'm quite ambitious. Well, given my upbringing and my Star Wars tattoo sleeve I have, working on a Star Wars film, doing creature design for a Star Wars film is definitely like the top of the top. Like if I do that, I'm good. I can just die happy. And then for this year, actually, my goal is to get work, hopefully, if they'll have me, for Wizards of the Coast for Dungeons and Dragons.
Nice.
That's my goal. I had a portfolio review with one of their art directors out at this art convention a couple years back, and I had this dragon, this volcano one behind me, and my undead one that's on my site. And she said, "Hey, this quality is just about there. We like what you're doing, but if you could just do one more like really detailed dragon, we'll talk." And now I have this blue one that just got released. It's a book cover this year, so I'm just like, I'm coming for you guys.
Well, we have most of their products, if not all, and I would like to say that your artwork is way better than some of the stuff they got in there. So,
Oh my gosh, thank you.
so they should jump on you before why they still have a chance.
Oh man, that would be like so awesome. I remember being in college and thinking like, man, that is what I want to do, Dungeons and Dragons, which is funny because I'm not much of a tabletop role player myself, but I still do have a couple monster manuals either way because I love the art,
Hey, I am a gamer, obviously, but I've picked up Monster Manual for games that I don't play just because, just like yourself, I'm into the monster stuff. I want to read about the lore. I want to get inspiration for, making my own things. Not that I have a lick of artistic creativity in creating it. I can do it up here in the brain, but there is an absolute disconnect between my head and creating it. So
our friend Brian Stillman is doing a documentary, the Eye of the Beholder, the Art of D&D.
Ooh.
And he's working on that right now, and he's interviewed basically all the artists from past and present for Dungeons and Dragons.
Wow.
And so we should definitely do an introduction with him at some point for you. Like, maybe he can hook you up with some people that you would be interested in meeting. I don't know. But like all the old heads he's interviewed, as well as I believe Tony Diorlizzi. I don't know if I'm saying it right.
You got most of it. I don't know how to correct it though.
Nice.
If Ryan were here, he could of course tell you.
Yes.
It's one of Ryan's tops, if I remember correctly.
Well,
that would be so cool.
Speaking of that too, do you have art heroes?
Oh my gosh. I have a folder on my computer called Inspiration that's about 9 gigs of photos from art heroes. But as far as like directly in my industry, I mean, it's tricky because you got people who are creature designers and people who are more of like illustrators. And I love all of them. I mean, Tara Whitlatch would have to be a huge one. She did a lot of the creature design for any Star Wars movie you've ever seen. And she's amazing. I love her. And then there's also an illustrator named Carla Ortiz. There's Wayne Reynolds. I'm trying to think. Ian McCaig, who designed Darth Maul, of course. Ian McCaig is amazing. Oh, geez. I have a giant list. Like, I would talk for an hour just listing off my art heroes on here.
So Vex says you should be on Face Off.
Oh, my God. I love Face Off. Thank you. That's a huge compliment.
Also, Brian Stillman also did another documentary called Plastic Galaxies.
Plastic Galaxy, no plural.
Plastic Galaxy, which is
That's
all
cool.
the like memorabilia and toys from Star Wars.
Oh, man, that would be awesome.
And
that is available on Amazon Prime for free streaming. So if you want to go check that out, it's definitely worth it. We did an interview with Brian for that particular documentary as well. I've checked it out since we got back from the cruise. It wasn't exactly what I was thinking it was going to be, but it talks about like the mindset behind the whole thing and how legitimately the Star Wars line of toys made Kenner from this little rinky-dinky shop to one of the biggest names in action figures. So
That's cool. I'm going to check that out.
I'm a huge Star Wars head myself, so
nice.
Yeah, it was cool hearing the stories about him making the documentary. He's like, I'm sitting there and there's the Death Star that, they it's like when they do the run, that's what you say. And he was like totally geeking out so hard on all that stuff.
Oh, that's so cool.
that his camera guy had to keeping him on track. Be like, no, we're working.
He's like, no, forget that. I want to look at the toys.
I want to shoot Boba Fett's missile.
Oh man, if that was me, I would just be a blubbering mess. Like, oh geez. I mean, I barely held it together when I met Ian McCaig, who did a lot of the character designs for the prequels. I'm not sure about the original films. I think that was mostly Doug Chang and, you know, a couple other artists. But man, that was cool. That was so cool.
Our good friend Nelson from Infinite Roleplay is a pretty decent artist himself.
Nice.
Has a question for you. Crystal, when you create, do you do so emotionally or analytically?
That's a good question, actually. I've never been asked that before. If I had, you know, I would say both. I would say 50-50, because when it comes to creature design, obviously I'm making animals that do not, and in most cases cannot exist in our world. Whether for, you know, the amount of limbs, the amount of teeth, how its body weight would affect itself on gravity and whatnot. But I think painting emotionally is really important, which is why I try to stay within my creature design field, because that's kind of where my passion lies. So every time I sit down and I'm just like, I am so stoked to work on this painting today, I feel like I pour a lot of passion into those. And I do think that shows when people are emotionally invested in their work. But you also have to be analytical about it, because anatomy is like solving a really complicated math problem, especially when you have like the saber wing piece that they were showing earlier. That one was really tricky, doing a cat creature with wings, with spikes on its back, and kind of coming at the viewer in perspective. So I think a good balance of both is how I approach my work, for sure.
Awesome.
So Comic Book University wants to know, would you ever consider working on comic books?
Ooh, yeah, if there were monsters involved, heck yeah.
Well, isn't that essentially how comic books started out anyway? You know, they were monster books, and they kind of evolved from there.
This is true. Yeah, I would be so down for that. I mean, I love doing line art. Line art is what got me into, you know, painting, like doing drawings and stuff. I didn't learn how to paint until I got into, you know, an art college when I was like, you know, 18, 19 years old.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
yeah.
I would think that's like the gateway to art for any artist, is, you know, picking up a pencil and sketching something, and then it's only then when you start exploring other mediums that you find your place. I know for my brother it was that way. Like, he was the guy that drew all of our stuff at the table, and then he discovered three-dimensional art, and then you know, and then after that he started doing, you know, making these puppets and building these like dioramas, and then someone's like, hey, have you seen Red Nose Studios? You should check that out. And then to his charge, and after that, whenever he would show his stuff, he's been in Spectrum a couple times too.
Ooh.
So every time he would show his stuff, they're like, yeah, it's a little bit too much like Red Nose Studios.
That's awesome. You know, thinking about comic books, if there was one comic book thing I would do, it would be a Star Wars variant cover. That would be like, I would dive headfirst into that.
So, in relation to Star Wars, you're talking about your dream job.
Yeah.
Do you ever do like races of Star Wars and, like, you know, draw that kind of stuff? I mean, some of them are monster-y, but not full monsters.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like if I ever get a chance to just sort of draw for myself, it ends up being Star Wars related, sometimes Game of Thrones related, lots of cool pop culture stuff, but it always ends up being Star Wars. And I love the creatures. I mean, I try to draw Darth Maul at least once a year because that's my favorite character and highly underappreciated. Everyone can agree, I'm sure. Best thing to come out of the prequels. But yeah, I like drawing the creatures. I think those are a lot of fun, and they got some great concept artists on those films to bring them to life. And I'm like, oh, someday it's going to happen.
Have you ever decided to, you know, re-envision the Rancor?
Ooh, you know, I've drawn Rancors. I haven't re-envisioned them entirely. That would be fun. That would be cool.
I was going to say Ted has a Rancor behind him, but that's not accurate.
It's over there.
It's over there.
It's over at the Nerdarchy corner.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. You know, I actually did I did this Darth Maul painting. I used to be in the tattoo industry as well, and Japanese line art was like my favorite thing in the world. So I did this painting of Darth Maul that kind of incorporates that style. And I made a print of it, and I got to give it to Ian McCaig, who's the artist who originally came up with the concept for him. And that was like a highlight of my my whole career.
Yeah, I did see you did Arya.
Yeah,
I don't
that
know.
was fun.
And and the Darth Maul on somewhere else. I forget. It was not on the site that I was just showing from, but it was somewhere else when I was stalking you online. And she's actually my favorite character from the Game of Thrones.
Nice.
And, so, before the HBO series had come out, I had read all the books, and she had always been my favorite. I'm just like, you spend the whole series just waiting for her to unleash because it's coming. It's just a matter of time.
Oh, agreed. Yep, she's one of my top favorites. Her and Sandor Clegane are probably my two favorite characters. And people are always like, "Really, the Hound? Like, why?" And I'm just like, "He's so misunderstood, you guys."
He just needs a hug and a puppy dog.
Yeah.
No, I can definitely see Sandor Clegane like later on in the series from HBO, which is which there's a lot of differences, but between that and
just a bit.
Yeah. The DeviantArt. I got distracted. I'm sorry. I get distracted by the chat all the time. I'm like that dog from what is it? Up Squirrel. Someone asked if I would show you a fig they painted.
Ooh, yeah, that sounds awesome.
And they wanted your opinion on the shading.
Heck yeah.
I don't know if it'll be big enough, but we'll see. Let's give it a go. Okay. There we go. We have a troll.
Ooh, nice. That's cool. Got some really nice earthy green tones going on. I've seen, some people will just paint them neon green and, call it a day. But I like that you've got a lot of really natural greens going on here. I think this is great.
Yeah, I think I've seen some of her other pictures of them where she shows off a little bit more of the actual like warts and stuff, because that's one of the things when she was painting, and she's like, I'm just trying to figure out how many warts I need to put on them.
Oh, that's cool.
Perfect number.
That looks like fun, painting miniatures. That if I get to take like a vacation or something someday, that's on the list.
Yeah, that's going to be your vacation. Me, I'm going to paint them with a roller.
Well, I've got hundreds of miniatures in my basement unpainted. You're more than welcome to come vacation here and paint these.
Just creep in your basement painting your miniatures.
That sounds like a horror movie all to itself.
Oh man.
So, how many hours a day do you spend painting?
Oh geez. Well, since I've been kind of swamped work-wise, which I'm really grateful for, because it's like the feast or famine kind of thing with artists, I would say at least 10 hours a day. Easy. And since we're moving in like actually 1 week from tomorrow, oh my God. And I right now have 24 client paintings on my roster that are all due before the middle of May.
Wow.
I haven't been taking a lot of days off recently, and I don't recommend that. I recommend making sure you take care of yourself and, make sure you get those days off. But it's been crunch time for me lately. So I've been a little bit crazy busy doing these like 10, sometimes 12-hour work days. And thankfully I've got an awesome husband who brings me like microwave burritos and makes dinner and stuff. Very, very nice.
Awesome. Someone asked if you're allowed in Ted's basement without a beard. I think he'd make an exception.
Hey, my husband's got a beard pretty similar to yours actually there. So like he could get in first and I could just kind of hide behind him and it totally work.
We allow Nerdarchy Kyle to come in and he doesn't have a beard, so.
That is true, but he does have a spiffy bow tie, so.
That he's worn once.
You hear that, Kyle? I think Ted's a little angry with you. He's cross.
Well, I mean, I've got Darth Maul's face about 9 or 10 inches on my arm. That kind of counts, right? That can be the beard replacement, my nerd cred.
Darth Maul is one of my favorite characters as well, so that's
Awesome.
more than enough.
High five.
I was in love with Darth Maul the moment that he showed up on the trailer for episode 1.
Oh, me too. It's so cool. Have you guys? I won't spoil anything, but have you guys been watching any of the animated shows that Star Wars has put out, like Clone Wars and Rebels?
I'm partway into season 3 of Rebels.
Oh, nice.
Okay. I got somewhere in season 2, and then I couldn't find when it comes on, and I haven't seen it on. I haven't seen it on because I would just catch it on Disney. I'm like,
yeah. Oh, Infinite Roleplay is like, nah, man, Savage, yeah, represent. Savage is awesome, and his design is so cool from the Clone Wars.
He was okay. I'm more of a Maul fan, and after he shows up on Rebels, it's yet even further puts him in the spotlight, in my opinion.
I know. The moment I heard that they were even bringing that character back, because I've called my tattoo a memorial tattoo for it's been like 7 years I've had this thing. Just to hear that news was like, oh my gosh, I get to see my favorite character like not dead. This is awesome.
Well, when they brought him back in the Clone Wars, there were a lot of people that I think were upset. It's like, how do you survive being cut in half and whatever have you?
Yeah.
All of the craziness that actually happens in the Star Wars universe and the power of the Force. It you have to just accept certain things, and like maybe there's a cool story out there of how he goes from Naboo to the Clone Wars, because they didn't really get into it. But I don't know. I just think it's awesome, and they really built him up in
they did.
Phantom Menace, and it's like, well, we built him up to cut him in half. Like what?
Oh. I'm sure you guys have seen. George Lucas has admitted he's like saying that it's one of his biggest mistakes with all the Star Wars stuff, which is saying a lot because he gets a lot of crap from a lot of people, but saying that not keeping Darth Maul as the villain for the rest of the prequels. I mean, obviously they had to do Darth Vader to continuity issues and whatnot, but just crazy. And I love the fact that they made it to where, I guess spoilers with Clone Wars, but how like he survived because he was so wrapped up in the dark side that it completely consumed him and protected him from getting killed. I thought that aspect was pretty cool and made me look at sort of the Sith way of life a little bit differently. That's cool.
Did you see the fan-made Darth Maul apprentice video?
Yes, it's so cool, and that is I can't believe fans made that. Like when that came out, I was like, oh, this has some high production value. This is legit, right?
I've watched it over and over again. I want more. It's like, can we get more out of that?
Yeah. Oh, that was so good.
Infinite Roleplay is going crazy in the chat over Star Wars.
My kind of people. Yay.
Like, they crushed Chewbacca with a moon. So what? Darth Vader got cut in half. It's no big deal. Things happen.
Sorry, Nelson, but Chewbacca being killed by a moon, that's only a fictional story now. I don't think that one is considered canon anymore.
Oh, no, it didn't survive the EU cut.
His being crushed by the moon was greatly exaggerated.
There is a book that is awesome called Darth Maul Lockdown. Any Darth Maul fans, if you haven't read it? And I think that actually was one of the new Star Wars Legends books that is considered canon, and it's cool. It's really cool. Guys, got to check it out.
Nice. Infinite Roleplay is still going, but but it's cool to bring people on here and hear them geek out about their nerdy stuff. We tend to be fantasy more than sci-fi, but we love our sci-fi as well.
For sure. That sounds like me as a person too, because I can't say I've really worked within the sci-fi industry much at all, although I do have some work for Starfinder from Paizo that's coming out. But besides that, like, it's funny, I just entirely work within fantasy, but when it comes to my personal life, I'm all about Star Wars, aliens, definitely more of the sci-fi kind of stuff, except Game of Thrones. Everyone loves Game of Thrones, so.
I feel like, when especially, it sounds like you get a lot of work from, RPGs, and a lot of that genre is driven by fantasy, or the more popular ones are driven by fantasy anyway, so it only makes sense. But maybe with doing some Starfinder, that'll open some doors for you, and you'll be able to get some more sci-fi in your life.
That would be cool. Like I'd just love to get get any kind of work on any Star Wars thing, even if it's like a game or a variant cover or a film. I'm all about Star Wars. That'd be awesome.
All right. Well, I'm gonna cross the streams here. I'll offer up a challenge for you. You like Star Wars, you like space, but you like dragons. You got to make a space dragon.
Oh man, a space dragon. Can it be like a planet-consuming terror space dragon? Because that would be cool.
Absolutely.
That's where my mind goes. I don't know why. I'm just messed up in the head.
The Galactus of dragons.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah. Exactly.
There's your challenge.
Yeah, it's got to be threatening and terrifying, and that's what makes it fun.
I don't actually feel like it would be that much of a challenge for Crystal.
All right. Well, instead of challenge, there's your inspiration. Is that better?
Yes.
sounds like another Tuesday to me.
It's even like the analytical side kicks in, and I'm like, okay, how could it survive in space? What sort of attributes could we give it? Let's see. It's just crazy thinking about like real animals and how they've adapted to extreme environments. It just goes nuts.
Well, perhaps it's got exceptional lung capacity, and it literally goes and breathes the entire atmosphere from the world, destroy it.
Super dense bones, so it could survive the crushing pressure of space. Be awesome.
Dragon plus squid plus bioluminescent Manowar. There's a suggestion.
That would be cool. That would be so cool.
So you said 24 projects by May-ish.
Yep.
That is a lot. I'm surprised you even have time to be on this stream with us and move. You're gonna be like, when you're driving the move, you're gonna be like painting.
No, I am. I'm not even kidding. We actually invested in an iPad Pro with the Apple Pencil recently, so that I have some kind of portable workstation while we're on the road, because it's going to take us about 3 days to drive to get to our new destination. And my deadline for sketches is like on the 15th or 16th.
They're gonna be like,
yep.
They're gonna be like, we love the texture in these, and you're gonna be like, bumpy road.
I know. Yeah, these are really unique with your line quality. Like, thanks. That was totally intentional, not because I was on a 3-day drive with my cats in the back of the car screaming at me.
How many cats?
Oh man, you're gonna ask me that question. 4. We have a dog too. He's a dingo. He's pretty awesome.
He's a dingo.
Yeah.
Like a dingo ate my baby.
Dingoes. Yeah, like a dingo ate my baby. And people with dog parts are always scared of him, but he's the nicest dog in the world. And he like lets all the other dogs pick on him, and they're like, what is this?
What? So how big do they get?
He's only gotten to about 80, 85 pounds. I'm sure they can get a lot bigger in the wild, but he's still pretty good size. But it's funny because we fostered kittens. Like we took in a pregnant stray, and he was like the kitten mom. Like they were crawling all over him, playing with him, and he's just like the most tolerant dog I've ever seen. Kind of funny. No baby eating here.
That's always a plus. Yeah, I have a chocolate lab that's like 100 pounds, so 80-pound dog is a good size. But he's real old now. Like he goes to get up and he spins in circles.
Oh.
He's 12 and it's starting to weigh on him a bit.
I love labs.
He's a good dog. He took a lot of abuse from my kids growing up.
Oh.
He was actually, it's sad. It's gonna be so sad because I know we're getting close. But he was eating this morning. He's standing in his bowl, and the next thing I know, his back legs just kind of like splay out, and the next thing you know, he's sitting and he's looking like, how did I get here?
Oh, poor guy.
Tail still wagging.
Man.
Didn't Kayla use his ears to hold on to learn to walk?
Ears, tail. They're all very good possibilities.
It's funny. My parents have he's like 109-pound yellow lab as a puppy. We aptly named him Conan the Barbarian.
Nice.
He's about 10. Yeah. So also kind of the same, starting to get up there a little bit. And I'm just like, oh, I love labs though. They're so sweet.
We have a question. So actually 2 of them. Vex wants to know what you did on Elder Scrolls, as well as what did you work on with Orcs Must Die?
Ooh, two really fun projects. So Elder Scrolls, I did a lot of card illustrations for Elder Scrolls Legends. Did some stuff for Elder Scrolls Online, and then it kind of got shifted into Elder Scrolls Legends, but I still can't show anything I've done, even though it was in 2012. Sometimes you get the contracts and the NDAs that are really, really strict, and ZeniMax is one of them. So, yeah, lots of really fun stuff. I think I can say lots of Khajiit and lots of Argonian. No dragons, ironically, but did lots of fun like character illustrations with the more animal-like creatures. And then Orcs Must Die, I actually did about 30 or 40 paintings for the board game from Peterson Games that just got, I think, delivered. It was a Kickstarter, and I've been seeing like people post pictures of my cards I did. So I think that one's out now, but no, that was fun. Lots of little goofy, icon illustrations and just lots of fun work.
How cool is that? Seeing like people or random strangers for that matter just posting your stuff all over the place.
Oh man, you guys at Emerald City, this blew my mind. I did a playmat commission. It's that big undead dragon I've got on the front page of my website, and I was at Emerald City and I had probably 30 people come up to me and they're like, "I have that playmat." I'm like, "What? Where'd you get it?" That's so cool. I painted that, and I guess it was like a mass distributed thing from Artists of Magic. And yeah, I had a bunch of people come up like with the playmat, like, "Hey, can you sign this? I saw you'd be here." So I was just kind of like, whoa, this is cool.
Which one is the undead dragon?
The first page, second picture?
It should be in that slideshow there. Big old undead dragon. It's like guarding a tomb.
Yeah. Like the ram horns? Is that?
Yeah, that's the tomb keeper. That was a lot of fun. But yeah, I guess that's like a playmat that's sold in all major retailers. I didn't really know that. They commissioned me to do the painting and kind of let me have some of the rights to print it myself. But yeah, I had a bunch of people, walking up and saying, "I have that playmat." That was really cool.
And then
that blue one. Oh, this one is my baby that it's like the most detailed painting I think I've done to date. And I just really pushed myself as far as I could go because they looked at that Tombkeeper dragon. This was for Orbit Books Publishing. It's actually for a book series called The Dragon Lords for their upcoming sequel in August. And they told me, they're like, "We love your dragons, but we want one that's even more detailed and more crazy." So it's like, okay, come on, let's do this.
I'm guessing you loved hearing that too. You're just like,
yes,
more detail, bring it.
Yeah.
You seem very like kind of like competitive with yourself when it comes to producing.
It's insane, and especially with detail. That's line art and details are my favorite parts of the painting stage. Just making textures look gross and tangible is like the most fun part of doing dragons and monsters. Like I have to be able to believe that I could just reach out and just touch its nose.
Nice. You definitely hit all the marks there. So it's right about that time. So we're gonna have to bow for the day, another hour down. But we really appreciate you coming and hanging out with us. You got an open invitation anytime you want to come talk monsters or art or whatever you want to. If you have a project you're working on, we'd love to talk to you about it.
Oh, awesome. Well, thanks so much for having me on, guys. This was a lot of fun. It was totally worth making time to do this. I had a lot of fun chatting about Star Wars and dragons.
And remember, guys, there's a link to our website in the description. Go check it out. And until next time, stay nerdy.
Stay nerdy.
Bye.